What is up, FSM? We are so glad that you guys could join us tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun today. First off, tonight is our very last FSM Live because we're going to start meeting every week now, doing FSM drive-ins, because we like to see your faces. And we want to hang out and do funny games and give you free food because we know you. We know you like free food and getting...
I like free everything.
Yeah, free, free... There could be some free things that you wouldn't want.
Oh, that's probably true.
I don't know, slap to the faces. I don't know.
Used underwear.
Free...
I
That is good. Thank you. That was great.
That's inappropriate.
So,
We gotta edit
no,
that.
it's not. We're totally keeping that on. Oh, so joining us in the studio today is Janna Widdifield, our brand new middle school director. We are super pumped that she is here, and we just wanted to take some time and get to know her, ask her some questions. Is that okay, Janna?
It is okay. I just don't know what the answers might be.
That's all right. Good thing there's no way to take it back.
There's been no preparation, so
no. That's the best way to film.
This is unscripted.
That's the best way to film something is to just no plan, just do. So yeah. So Janna,
Evan,
tell us a little bit about yourself first. Where are you born? Where are you from?
Okay, I am from California. I grew up in the Central Valley in a town called Turlock. We called it T-Town.
Why was it called T-Town?
Because it starts with a T, Turlock.
Original. Keep going.
Totally. We were the Turlock Bulldogs. Okay, and I grew up in a family of 4. I had an older brother. I grew up going to church. So I was really had that as my early experience. The town I grew up in was a little bit rural. So even though it's California, everybody thinks the beach. That's not what most of California is. So I was in 4-H, and I raised me some rabbits and some agricultural products.
Hold on. Do you remember the names of your rabbits?
Oh, I don't.
What color were they?
They were Netherland Dwarves. They're little miniature versions that are and then I had mini Rexes, which are the really soft ones.
Okay, I vote we get an FSM rabbit. Just saying.
It could be our mascot.
It could be our
mascot.
mascot.
I have been thinking we need an animal mascot.
Oh, we totally need a mascot. I was thinking Flamingo and calling him Flamey.
Where's he going to live? No, that's not going to work.
Come on.
Okay, back to me.
Okay, yes. Continue.
I grew up in, it was kind of like a smaller community. I grew up pretty much literally one block on the wrong side of the tracks, if that makes sense. Literally, there were the railroad tracks, and then we were considered the west side of town. Mm-hmm. So the
west side was you don't go there.
Yeah, well, there were certain streets I wasn't allowed to ride my bike down.
Oh.
And my direct neighborhood wasn't, but there were other streets that you just knew you weren't supposed to. Really high Latino population. So in elementary school, I was the minority a lot of the times in the classroom. So
cool. One
cool thing about California is there's just a lot of different cultures there. So I grew up with, my best friend was Palestinian, and growing up with that, and just gotten to know just a lot of different people. And
so there were Palestinian rednecks, is what you're saying?
No, Reem was not a redneck, but it was pretty ironic because she's this dark, beautiful hair and olive skin, and I was this blonde, white thing, and we just loved each other. And her mom would feed me rice wrapped in grape leaves, and I would just eat it up, and I loved it.
By hand, she would just feed.
No, but she was always serving me baklava, and and I just ate it all up. So I had
nice.
Growing up,
So you were just surrounded by all these different things. That's really neat.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
The cool thing was even though I would be considered going to an inner city school, I guess. God just had a lot of really amazing Christian teachers in the school that
nice.
Were able to pour into me ways, and maybe not directly in the classroom, but allowed me even at a young age to express my faith in the classroom, which is really cool.
Was there a teacher in particular that sticks out to you? that you remember?
Mrs. Blackley. She was my 5th grade teacher.
Mrs. Blackley.
Mrs. Blackley. She
Nice.
was like the coolest teacher in 5th grade because she set up Blackleyville, which was a town, and we had to build shops to sell, and we like designed money, and it was like a whole year-long thing. It was like super cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So she was awesome, and yeah, just like if there's an opportunity or I wanted to share something, and she just like always allowed that, and
that's awesome.
it was really cool.
My 5th grade teacher was named Mrs. Hedren, and I'm pretty sure she hated my guts because I would always run away during recess.
Why did you run away during recess? That's the best part.
I know, but my house was really close by, and sometimes I'd get a hankering for like a Pop-Tart.
So it was like for food. You had to do like a food run.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was me. That was Evan, though.
Yeah.
It was pretty. And then...
Janna was a rule follower. That wouldn't have been me.
And then what I would do is I would bring back a whole box and I would sell them on the recess. On the
Entrepreneur.
playground.
Yeah.
I
See, you
mean-
would have done well in Blackleyville.
Really?
Because that would have been encouraged because you're making money and we're learning about economy.
See, I went to
It was
the wrong
before
school.
like there were formal systems of that. Like this was like a really cutting edge thing that she did. No other teacher in like the district did this kind of thing. So
That's so cool.
yeah, I had a really cool elementary school experience, and then 6th grade, really rough year.
Why was it rough?
Partly because in that class I was like one of 4 white girls or 3 white girls, and I was, just kind of picked on and excluded. And,
I'm sorry.
And yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
But then in our hometown, because it's a small hometown, there's only 1 middle school. So there's like 8 elementary schools, and middle school for us was going into 7th grade. So
Yeah, same.
and so we'd go, the neat thing I knew was coming was that there were going to be all these other kids and coming from different schools. So there was
Sure.
that potential for like new friendships.
Fun.
And towards the end of 7th grade, I really kind of made like my best friend and a
good.
really great group of friends that like even like carried through high school. So that
Nice.
was like really good.
Good. All right, so you got to tell us, is there any embarrassing story
Yes,
that you
a
need
lot.
to Okay,
ton.
start with one. What grade were you in?
Well, it really starts to get embarrassing when you're more like middle school.
Yes.
Right, because people notice. And so I am really coordinationally challenged. Like doing 2 things at once can sometimes be hard. I fall a lot. And like when I was a teenager, that was like even worse.
Oh, could you chew gum and walk?
Yes, I could. But the first one would be probably when I was in 7th or 8th grade, and like one day at PE we didn't have to dress out, like put on our PE uniform. So we were playing, and I had on like this like jumper thing, which was like a dress, and that was in back then, whatever. And I fell. We were playing basketball, and I literally fell in a puddle, and like it soaked through everything. Like my undies and everything, and I didn't have anything to change into. So my PE teacher like calls my mom, and she's like, "Hey, can you bring Janna some clothes?" And my mom was like, "What do you mean? Like, can't she just like wear her PE shorts or something?" And the PE teacher was like, "No, like she's soaked. Like her whole body is like soaked. You have to bring
She went
her
to
clean,
Waterworld and
like
back.
clean everything." So that was one PE
Yikes.
moment, and then like soon after that, we were like learning how to do the long jump and the triple jump, and we're like out on the track, and the boys' PE class is like right there, like watching all of us like go. And,
Oh,
like,
so guys and girls are separated.
yeah, guys and girls
Okay.
PE separated, but so they were doing their thing, I was doing ours. And my PE class was first period of the day. That was part of it. So like I had the whole day, so that's why mom had to bring clothes. Anyways,
Yikes.
I'm doing the long jump, and I literally fall like face plant, like full face plant
in the sand?
In the sand with like the entire boys PE class like
How
applauding
far?
me.
Do you know how far you jumped? Like how far you actually made it?
I don't know. My mind was not on that. It was more like I learned really early on to like laugh at yourself, stand up, take a bow. Like you just, if you go with the fall, you usually don't
welcome.
injure yourself. I've never had a broken bone.
All right, there you go.
That's
All right,
life.
so
That's good life
when
advice.
something embarrassing happens, just take a bow.
Just take a bow and be like, just call me Grace.
just that's all. That's
Yeah.
what I did. Own it.
Own it.
Yeah.
And laugh and be okay with it. Like, yeah.
Nice.
But then in high school, I started doing cross country because that was really the only sport I could do because I wasn't
Running.
coordinated to do anything else. And I would like trip sometimes, and my teammates would be like, "What just happened?" And I'm like, "Well, that grass was kind of tall right there. Like there wouldn't be anything I would trip over." So
All right. So if you're an uncoordinated person, girl, you can talk to Janna for all kinds of advice. All right. All right.
Not on how to be not how to get coordinated, just
But
how to handle the
listen.
embarrassing moments.
She'll be able to
Yes,
understand
I will,
you
totally.
very, very well. All right, cool. So tell me some of the things that you're pumped about to be our middle school director.
One, if you've seen me at all, if you know me from Vessels, if you've seen me, I was at Narnite, Les, I love me a theme. I love me a party. I love me some dress up. And so this job, I feel like, just enables me to
let all the juices
release
flow.
all of my creative juices and be kind of wild and crazy. But I just love, I feel like my youth group and growing up, my story was one that I came to faith at a really young age, and I owned it at a young age.
Sure.
And that faith really carried me through. And I'm just excited to help teens build their toolbox
Sure.
of their faith and what those tools are and what they can use, because I feel like my testimony is one of God's faithfulness and goodness, that I didn't have to go through some really awful things in order to get to a deep place with him.
Sure.
And that there's living God's way, there's a blessing in it, even if it's not the popular thing of what society is telling you to do or to experiment with or figure out. And even now there's things in my marriage and my family and my life that are blessed because I stuck to that faith and I stayed on that path.
Right. Do you think there was ever a time, because I know middle schoolers, it's just a really hard, awkward, you're trying to figure out yourself sort of time. In high school, same. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there was ever a point in your younger years where you talk a little bit more about that ownership aspect and why is that important and what that looked like maybe for you, if that makes sense?
Well, I think probably for most people's faith story, their journey, wherever they start, it's they there's different points where it's kind of a high and a low, right? Where you're learning something, you go through something hard, and then, even in 6th grade when I was going through, one of the things that happened in 6th grade that made it hard was my best friend, Reem, who's from Palestine, was my best friend all through kindergarten. Well, when we got to 6th grade, she looked more like all the Latina girls than me, and so she got swept up into that group, so I lost my best friend. And I was so lonely that 6th grade year.
Yeah.
And so really digging into, I was a big reader, so I read a lot, and I found ways to fill my time that weren't necessarily with friends or at school or sports, but that kind of moved me forward in my faith.
Sure. That's good.
I don't know. I can't quite think of exact moments, but kind of, are you saying was there ever a time I questioned it, kind of thing?
No, how was it? Because you said you took ownership of your faith, and I guess even with Reem, was that her name?
Yeah.
How did that ownership you had in your faith at such a young age? How did that help you?
I felt a burden to share Jesus with her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know what that is. If that was just I feel even from a young age, the Lord put things in me to want to reach out to people, to love on people, to encourage people. And my mom has stories of things. She's you would just come up with these harebrained ideas of things you wanted to do to bless people. And we were always kind of okay, I hope it goes like you think it should, know, because we didn't know how people were going to respond.
Totally.
But I think that probably helped that my parents saw those things and they encouraged it. And that's what I love to do in kids. When I see giftings go, God's put that in you for a reason.
Totally.
That's
awesome.
That's there on purpose. He designed you that way, and that can be used for His glory. It can be used to show other God's love. It doesn't have to be you're a missionary or something. He can use your gifts.
Sure. Before we close, is there anything that with the middle schoolers that are watching right now, is there anything that you'd want to encourage them with right now, with this being our last, moving into the summer, and anything you'd want to just...
I want to encourage you guys to show up, because we are brainstorming like crazy. It's just
Sparks are flying.
Yes, it's crazy. We are going to do some really fun stuff.
Yeah. We are.
And I want to encourage you, you know, there's a lot of teens in your neighborhood.
Yes.
And like all the sports camps have been canceled. Lots of activities aren't going on. Like kids have time and they need connection and they need somebody who will invite them.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like you can send an email to somebody, but everybody likes to be personally invited. So I
Totally.
would just encourage you guys, invite people.
Yeah.
Invite them and be like, I'm going to be there. You can come with me because it's going to be more fun. The more kids we have,
Right.
the more just different ages, different
Yeah.
styles, different everything. The bigger the group, like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And so I would just really encourage you to reach out to people around you.
Yeah, and it's summer. People are looking for things to do,
Totally.
and I mean, we're always going to be giving out free stuff and having a blast. So.
And food. I'm big on food.
Yeah.
So we're going to be,
Yeah.
If you know me, I love to cook. I'm going to be wanting to cook for you all. So
it's going to be awesome.
it's going to be awesome.
Good. Awesome. Well, Janna, thank you so much
I'm so excited to be
for
here.
hanging out. We're super excited that she's here. Hope you guys are too. And listen, come to the FSM Drive-In next week at 6 p.m. over in our West lot. We're going to have tons of fun. Janna will be there. All right. And yeah, we're really looking forward to this summer. We love you guys. We'll see you later.